Hi everyone, Tiffany Tillman here with another edition of Q&A Wednesday, a weekly feature at simplytiffanystudios.com dedicated to answering your digital scrapbooking questions. In the last few weeks, I've answered some groovy, technique-based digital scrapbooking questions, and I love those types of questions. But today's Q&A veers in a different direction, one that's just as important, if not more, than digi-techniques. Today's question was given to us by TC, and she's a hankering for improving her writing. Let's take a look at TC's question. Tiffany, I love looking at your layouts for inspiration, but time and again, I'm drawn to your journaling. At different times, it's witty, poignant, thought-provoking, and just plain old laugh-out-loud hilarious. What are your tips for being able to journal so authentically that it feels like you're talking face-to-face with the reader? TC. Well, TC, I'm flattered that you enjoy my journaling style and find my pages inspiring. Thank you. Today, I'll offer my process for drafting engaging journaling, something I've never shared before. Let's have at it. Okay. The super secret key to drafting engaging journaling comes down to 3 words: perspective, language, and plot. Perspective simply means to tell the story, write your journaling from your point of view. Here's an example. You have never lacked for the gift of gab. So I was a bit nervous thinking the characters would rush you through a conversation during our encounters, but none did. All of them stopped, talked, and carried themselves away with their own animated personalities. Tink played with the springs in your hair. Ginger illustrated how tight flower living arrangements could be. Mulan enlightened us about castles in China, and Jasmine couldn't help but talk about your jasmine dress. They all answered your questions, and in the end, you felt mighty important. Now, that was the Disney magic I was looking for. Now, in my layout, I am the speaker, and instead of describing the who, the what, when, where, and why of the situation, I've shared my experience and my involvement in the event. I described what I saw, yes. But what I really captured was what connected and resonated with me. So to write from your point of view, you must ask yourself questions like, how did this event impact me? How did the experience live up to or take away from my expectations? What about this moment is something I'll want to remember forever? If you zero in on the most significant details, and more importantly, how the moment you've captured affects you, your journaling will cease to be just a description and evolve into an engaging story told from your unique perspective. But perspective doesn't just stop at the speaker, that's you. There's another perspective to consider: the audience, the person or people who will read your page. Now, personally, I don't write for you to read or even myself. I write to my kids, who are usually the subjects of my layouts. They are my audience and the pair who I want to be most affected and transformed by my words. When I write to them, my journaling comes from the heart. Taking this type of personal tone allows anyone else reading the story like you to become the subject. You, the reader, become part of the story as the main character. You become connected and impacted too, because not only are you peering into the story through my eyes as the speaker, but also jumping into the story as the subject, an involved character. So to master perspective, write from your point of view and write to a specific audience. And you'll create an emotional connection if your audience happens to be the subject of your page. Next up, language. Write exactly how you speak. See, what had happened was we walked into that shop at Canada and Epcot World Showcase, and we saw the biggest stuffed beaver you ever did see. And I wanted a picture with said beaver. So I'm holding up this beaver and laughing at the butt soap, and dude walks by and says, You got the biggest damn beaver I ever seen. Wasn't that just the sweetest comment ever? Look, my friend who has been my bestie since ninth grade knows I talk like that all the time. Seriously, the journaling on this layout is my natural conversational tone, unedited and unscripted. Tiffany Uncut. How you speak to a friend versus how you speak in a professional environment is completely different too. I guarantee you're different. Your grammar, your slang, all of those things improve when you write. And scrapbookers tend to write in a professional tone rather than just a conversational tone. But when you talk personally to a close homie, you become you. It's like the difference between wearing high-heeled shoes and cozy slippers. One has us all uptight, and the other allows us to relax. So relax and let your language roam free. When you're able to relax, you'll use your slang, your colloquialisms, for instance. I'm from the mid-Atlantic, southeastern part of the United States. We say y'all all the time, y'all. But I'm also a beach chick who loves to say dude and throw up the fingers. So I commonly add my slang to my pages because those words are an honest and true reflection of my vocabulary. It's true, dude. And you should do the same. So I've talked about perspective and I've talked about language. Finally, plot. All good stories have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Once upon a time, we were in Disney World standing behind the castle at Cinderella's carousel. The kids were screaming, parents were standing, and the ride was going round and round. You spotted your horse, asked Daddy and I to stand aside, and you and your chosen one began to gallop. Well, that's what you wanted us to believe, and I, with my 20-year addiction to everything pony, especially My Little Pony, got the chance to be 5 years old again, where everything was made of magic and plastic ponies were really real. I watched you laugh, watched you dig in the spurs, and watched you reluctantly dismount the old lass. Then you looked at Daddy and I and said the most predictable thing. I wish I could have a real pony. So do I, baby. But you know what's better? Let's just ride it again. And I'll say it again. All good stories have a beginning, a middle, and an end. In the beginning, briefly introduce the setting, a 1 or 2 line statement of what you see, what you hear, feel, taste, or think works best. Then follow up with what's connecting you to the experience, how you are being moved. The bulk of your story exists in the middle because you'll need time to share your complete thoughts. So go with it. Write everything you want to share, then edit it down as necessary. And finally, end with a closing remark, a quote from you or the subject, a final thought, or just one line that brings the entire story together. That final line is your closing idea. And that's the end. Perspective, language, and plot. The 3 super secret keys for drafting engaging journaling. And now you know, and TC has the A to her Q. All right, if you found my perspective, language, and plot journaling thoughts to be helpful, and you know a scrapbooker who could benefit from their use, share this video with them. You gals know I'm a firm believer that all deserve to build kick-butt scrapbook pages, and journaling is no exception. Have a question you'd like to see here answered on Simply Tiffany's Q&A Wednesday? Click on the Submit Question link and send it to me. Remember, if your question is chosen, I'll send you a $10 gift certificate good for any product at my DHD store. All right, girls, until next Wednesday's Q&A, happy scrapbooking!